The Boston Celtics may be the best team in the NBA right now, but that time will be short-lived because the San Antonio Spurs are coming. They have two top 8 picks in this year's draft, and they have Victor Wembenyama as well as a nice young core. But first, let's go ahead and get things started off in today's video by looking at who they should take in the draft. They need to address the point guard position, but I think first and foremost, they need to take best player available. That is always the most important thing at the top of a draft. Nikola is the best pure point guard in this draft, in my opinion. However, he has torn his ACL and he's coming off of an ACL tear. You need to decide if the 6'6", 200-pound 18-year-old is still worth taking despite being rehabbing from a torn ACL. He put up 14.5 points, 5.5 assists, a steal per game in 28 minutes overseas this year and is one of the better of point guard options in this class. We've seen the Spurs go with a foreign point guard before, and the trio of Vassell, Victor Wembenyama, and Nikola would be very, very intriguing next year. Rob Dillingham is another guy here that can absolutely fill it up. However, he stands at 6'3", 165 pounds, and then at the combine it was discovered he's only 6'1" without shoes on. Now, he did average 15.2 points, 4 assists, and 3 rebounds in just 23 minutes a game this year at Kentucky, showing he was one of the best freshman point guards in the country. And he also shot at 48% from the field and 44% from 3 in 32 games, which really makes him intriguing. However, he definitely had his fair share of freshman mistakes with turnovers, poor shot selection forces. And then, with the best player available pick, you can go Cody Williams, you can go Dalton Connect, you could even double down and take like 2 point guards and go with the route of taking Reed Shepherd and another point guard, and then you can also play Shepherd off the ball down the line. There are a lot of different options you have in this draft, and I think best player available is the thing that you need to address first. Now, Victor Wembanyama, we need to talk about this. He was all we thought he would be and more. He should have been probably the defensive player of the year when you compare his numbers to Rudy Gobert. He was better, 254 blocks and 88 steals in just 71 games played, while Gobert had 162 blocks and 52 steals in 5 more games. This dude, Victor Wembanyama, was the best player in the league on the defensive side of the ball. He's a cheat code defensively. I mean, he's making the 3-time MVP look like a fool right here. And then, oh, by the way, on offense, he averaged 21.4 points, 10.4 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3.6 blocks as a 20-year-old. The shooting splits were not good, but he's a rookie. So, I mean, do you expect him to be 50, 40, 90 off rip? If he was, he would be the most cracked rookie of all time. You see the per 36 numbers there. He is insane. There really is no comparison. We can try and compare him, and per Crafted NBA, he compares most favorably to 2020 AD, who was an NBA champ, all defensive first team member, second in defensive player of the year voting, and averaged 26 points a game, or Hakeem Olajuwon in 1991, where he averaged 21, 14, and 4, and was a defensive monster. But Victor Wembanyama is truly something we have never seen before, and as a rookie comparing to these all-time greats, this is scary because of his potential. Right here, he's ISO-ing Daniel Gafford into a sidestep, step-back 3. Get this man some help, and he becomes the best player. I mean, he's just bullying Daniel Gafford on both teams that he played for this year. Unfortunate. But will they look to the trade market, and will they look to one of these Hawks point guards as a guy you could try to bring in? Trae Young would be very interesting alongside Victor Wembanyama, a guy that averaged 11 assists per game for the subpar Hawks last year. If you put him beside Wembanyama, he might average 15 assists per game. The thing is, he's a shot-first guard, and he took 19 field goal attempts a game last year and was only 43%, and was only 37% from 3, and he's owed $43 million per year for the next few years. I'd steer clear of Trae Young because that means that Keldon Johnson is gone. If you wanted to go back to DeJounte Murray, if you think you can repair the relations there, he's on a much more favorable contract, and he's averaging 22.5 points, 5.3 rebounds, and 6.4 assists, as well as shooting at 46% from the field and 36% from 3 on 7 attempts while taking less shots. Maybe that's a route you go. He's owed $28.5 million per year. Maybe that's a guy you go to, but I don't know. I think you just keep your picks. Either way, Keldon Johnson's probably gone this offseason. It's just an experiment that has not worked out. He really hasn't gotten that much better. He averaged 15.7 points and 5.5 rebounds this year while shooting at 45% from the field and 35% from three. So not exactly a guy that has really improved his game. Same thing with Jeremy Sohan. Both of these guys, I mean, you can't have both those guys in the lineup because they can't shoot. Now, the Hawks would be very interested in making deals with the Spurs because they have their picks for the foreseeable future. That Chicago pick next year could also be very valuable. And looking at Victor Wembenyama, they need to surround him with guys that can help him. Sohan, Keldon Johnson, not exactly the best. We've talked about them already, though. You also have, Devin Vassell. Trae Jones, solid point guard. I think he's better suited as a backup. We'll see what they think he deserves to be next year in terms of starter or backup, and it really depends on what they do in the draft and free agency. But looking at Devin Vassell, a guy that averaged 19.5 points per game last year, 4.1 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 1.1 steals in 33 minutes a game. Very, very suitable number 2 option. He's a great 3-and-D wing, and I think beside Victor Wembanyama over the next few years, because again, Vassell is still only 23, 24 years old, and he can shoot it about 37% from 3. If we can get that up to 39, he's looking really good as a long-term piece beside of Wembanyama. But, last year the 3-point percentage was better, but the field goal percentage was worse, and then this year they flip-flopped it, so getting better. I mean, like I said, as long as he can keep it around 38, 39 for the next 10 years, he will be fantastic, and I think him and Wembanyama will win a lot of NBA championships together. Real quick though, make sure to hit the like button, leave me a comment down below, and hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying today's video at any point. As you can see here, a large majority of the people that watch these videos are not subscribed to the channel. We're trying to hit 15K before the NBA draft, so if you could help us out with that, it would be greatly appreciated. And with that being said, let's go ahead and continue on looking here at free agency and who is going to be available. I think Gary Trent Jr. and Buddy Hield, really anybody that can shoot and play defense. So Gary Trent Jr. would probably be prioritized above Buddy Hield, but you're looking to surround Victor Wembanyama with as many guys as possible, and they have $25 million in cap space, so they don't really have to be careful with how they use it. They can kind of throw it around. They also have $19 million next year, so plenty of open space on the books. Devontae Graham is owed about $12 million over the next couple of years, so if they get him off the books, that's an extra $12 million you have to use on maybe a guy like Buddy Hield, who for his career is a 40% three-point shooter. This year he averaged 12.2 points and 3.2 boards on 39% shooting in Philadelphia. Gary Trent Jr. had a bit of a down year this year in Toronto, but he has been a very, very solid wing for them in the past. He averaged 14 points, 2.6 boards on 39% shooting from 3 in 28 minutes a game. So both very solid options there you can pair up with Vic. You also have Royce O'Neal, Kelly Oubre, Derrick Jones Jr., just guys that can shoot the 3-ball and play defense. Oubre will be probably at the top of my list, and then Royce O'Neal, and then Derrick Jones Jr. We will see what happens, though. Derrick Jones Jr. kind of got exposed for not being able to shoot in the finals. But I think this lineup could be really, really good, especially when you take into account the development of Victor Wembanyama, and maybe you sub out Derrick Jones Jr. and put in like a Kelly Oubre Jr. We will see how they decide to assess that in free agency, but however you can surround Victor Wembanyama with as much talent as possible is a good thing, because he is one of the best players in the NBA currently. And then, say you take like a Cody Williams in the top 10 of the draft, you can plug him in off the bench alongside of Trae Jones, alongside of Malachi Branham, who's been solid in the past, Sohan and Zach Collins. We'll see what happens there. But, everybody being coached by Coach Popovich will definitely add another dimension to their game, because he's obviously one of the best in the history of the world. But Victor Wembanyama, I cannot wait for this guy and his development. He single-handedly could be the next NBA dynasty all by himself. We'll see what happens, though. Make sure to hit the like button and leave me a comment down below if you did enjoy today's video at any point. Also, hit that subscribe button. Like we said, we're trying to hit about 200 likes on today's video, so if you could help us out with that, it'd be greatly appreciated. And with all that being said, thanks so much for watching today's video.